Aloha and greetings. Seth Gambia here in gorgeous sunny Kona, Hawaii. Just going for a quick walk in a nice little neighborhood not too far from where I live. I love coming out here because it gives me a chance to think and get my thoughts together. Just out here with my dog Bear and my son Crew.
Hi.
Anyway, this is something I've been wanting to do actually since before the election last year. But I decided to wait because last year during the election there was just way too much contention and way too much bitterness and fighting. I just didn't feel it was the right time to do it. But now that things have settled down, and I mean the election is what it is, and we're just trying to move forward now. I feel this is a good time to do this because here's the thing, guys. It's time to find some common ground, okay? You know, because I talk with conservatives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, libertarians all over the place. I met some wonderful friends here that are in virtually every one of those parties. And here's what I found, everyone just wants the same thing. We really just want the same thing. We want to be able to raise our families how we see fit, whether we want to be a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut, or, well, maybe not an astronaut anymore, but maybe we want to have a home business or be an architect. Doesn't matter. We just want to be able to raise our families how we see fit without the government getting too involved in us. No one wants to pay too much taxes. We expect our government to be more responsible and stop spending so much money. I mean, I know they're telling us they don't have a spending problem, but we know they do. And it's just becoming more and more obvious that the solution is not going to come from Washington, D.C. And it's really got to come from people like you and me, our families, our local communities, our churches, our schools. Because we all want the same thing. So instead of focusing on all these things that are dividing us and keeping us apart, we have to start focusing on the common ground that we all have together. Because when it's all said and done, we're all Americans. We all want the same things for our families and for our neighbors. We just want to live. And we want to be able to do it without having to look over our shoulder every 10 minutes, wondering if our government's going to try to pass some new law that's unconstitutional or pass some new tax or some new, distraction to keep us fighting against each other. Because... guys, so I'm forming this group because this isn't a place for people to come here and bitch about the election. It's not a place for people who supported Ron Paul to come here and complain about, how he got screwed during the primaries. It's not a place for Romney apologists to come here and bitch about Ohio and voter fraud and all that stuff. And it's not a place for Obama supporters to come and sit here and blame everything on Bush, okay, or make excuses. This is strictly for people who want to find solutions and who want to find some common ground so we can start fixing our country from the bottom up instead of waiting for a top-down solution that's not going to come. And so that's what this group's all about. So if you want to be a part of that, great. If you come here to bitch about Democrats, Republicans, or this or that and the other, I'll boot you out. We're beyond that. I call this our election, our two-party system, this whole election process is pretty much the political game of musical chairs from hell. Okay, we change drivers every few years and then nothing ever changes. We still have debt, we still have illegal wars, we still have huge government, we still have more taxes, more regulations and less freedoms. Our civil liberties are getting taken away, and we think the solution is just switching parties, okay? It hasn't worked. Clearly it hasn't worked. So we just need to stop it. But it's never going to stop as long as we're focusing on the differences between each other. And it'll only start getting better when we start working on what we have in common. And start focusing on principles instead of parties. And start uniting on these things that we can find common ground on. All right, guys, so that's the only rules I have. We're here to find common ground. Love to have your input. Focusing on principles that can help fix our country, instead of all this Democrat, Republican nonsense. So, love to have your input, guys. Looking forward to hearing from you and working towards some solutions and to getting our country back on track, guys. All right, this is Seth Gamby, husband, dad, elevator, signing off from Hawaii. We'll see you next time.